Okay, hello. Here I am. I'm Casey Christensen, located in West Kelowna, BC. I am an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator, and I thought I would pop on with you today, and we're going to see how well I follow instruction. Usually not very well, but we're going to try. So, I recently was in the team meeting with West Coast Creators. I'm a member of West Coast Creators, myself and a bunch of other fine stampers. And we had a presentation by Jillian Long. She's one of my favorites. She is Gillybean Crafting. So if you get a chance, look her up. I love her cards. And she, for our team, she did this PDF. And I think there's 5 cards here. 3, 4, 5, maybe even 6 cards here. Yeah, and I can't give this to you, but you can certainly purchase it from her. If you head on over to Gillybean Crafting, you can buy this from her. And I'm so glad I got mine because I love every single card that she's done. And today I'm going to play with one called Happy Thoughts. We're using the bundle called Fond of Autumn. It's on page 52 of the mini catalog. So it's a really fun set, and what intrigued me to get this set was watching Jilly because of the way these dies work, and I'll show you that in a minute. It's just really unique and different, and I love that. And these cards are absolutely fabulous. So I'm going to follow her instructions. I have started out by cutting my pieces of pear pizzazz. So I've got the 5.5 by 8.5 scored in half. Of pear pizzazz, and that's my card base. And then this next piece is 4 inches by 5 1/4, and we're going to do a die cut with this. So let's go ahead and do that. I'm going to follow her instructions right from number 1 all the way down because instructions are really not my friend, but I figure if I do it one step at a time, I might be okay. I might manage to get through this. So this is the die set. The stamp set is gorgeous. You've got these beautiful you've got flowers, you've got leaves with berries on them, and you've got acorns, and they're absolutely gorgeous. And wait until you see how the die cut works for this. It's amazing. We'll get to that in a minute. We've got some fun sentiments here. We've got some separate flowers, some oak leaves, and some acorns, and then this lovely banner, which I'm going to use today. And this is a photopolymer set. So we have these lovely cases where you can pull your stamps off of here and put them right onto your stamp case. Keeps everything neat and tidy, and then you always know if you're missing one because you'll have an empty space there. So I'm going to hang on to that for a minute. I'm going to use this die cut right now to make, oh boy, is that ever stuck on there good. Holy smokes. Alright, let's just do it this way. This is a 2-part die cut, but we're only going to use the 1 part. So you have all this florally stuff. Wow, this really doesn't want to come off of here. Okay, so we have all this florally stuff, which we're going to use now, but you also have the opportunity to cut this and then cut it out, but that's not what we're going to do right now. Right now, we're going to, and I've got my big cutter over here because I didn't want to muck about with the little cutter for this particular card. So, we're going to take our cardstock, and let's see what she's done here. I'm trying to follow instructions. I see she's got it. There's the side here that's, you know, relatively even, and then there's the side here that's uneven. And I see that she's got the even side at the top because we're going to be cutting this twice. So let's just pop that through the cutter. See what it looks like. Again, I'm using the big embossing machine. I just think it's easier when you're working with a die that's this detailed. And I'm going to run it through a couple times, maybe even 3 times, just to make sure I get a really good cut. I find that with the newer embossing machine, as opposed to the Big Shot, I generally do get better. I usually do get better cuts. Let's have a look at this. Okay, look at all that stuff there. Look at this, okay? That's beautiful. So I need to clean this off, otherwise it's going to make lumps and bumps in my next cut. And for the piece here, I'm going to take your pick tool, and I'm just going to attach my brush tool here. See, I've got this little brush tool. So I'm just going to attach that. And then I've got a foam piece here. And you can just attach that to the foam piece and give this a brush. And you see, all the little pieces pop out. It's a bit messy, but you know, if you're not making a mess, you're not having fun. So it can be a little on the messy side. So there you go. I got all my pieces out there nicely. I'll just get rid of that. I'm trying to work a little tidier because halfway through my demos I can't find anything. And I think it's because I'm a messy worker and I bury things. I don't even think, I know that. I know that's the case. So now we're going to do this one, and we're going to do the same thing. See how I've placed that? We're going to do the same thing with the row along. So you've got gaps here, but this is going to get covered up because look at where my flowers go. Okay? So you're going to have gaps here, and that's okie dokie. We don't mind that at all. Just make sure that you're not going off the edge of the pear pizzazz. Okay? So let's cut this one. And again, I'm going to do it a few times just because it's really better if it cuts all out the first time around, because it can sometimes be hard to put it back in a second time if it doesn't. So I just like to give it some extra power to get it cut right the first time. So there we go. And there we have it. I will clean that out later, famous last words, and I'll go to use it and it won't be cleaned up, but that's okay, that's how I roll. I always say I'm going to clean it up later and then I forget to. Alright, so there we have it. I was going to be on yesterday at 7, but we went to the beach, which we do on all our days off. We're paddleboarders. I say that like I've always been a paddleboarder. We're new paddleboarders, but we're really liking it. And yesterday it just so happened that friends joined us, and so kind of lost track of time. Before I knew it, I wasn't going to get home in time. So summer's like that, though. You know, summertime can be like that. It's hard to keep to a strict schedule during the summertime because there's always something going on. Plus I'm working, which is really cutting into my crafting time. There we go. Have I got it all? Maybe one or two little ones there. There we go. How pretty is that, right? I like that. So that's our first task in getting our card front ready. Okay, so I'm going to put this portion of my card together because you know that's how I roll. I like to put my card front together so I can see where it is I'm going and whatnot. And so this is going to go straight on here. Let me just check my instructions. Cut, pear, pizzazz, da 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 da. Yep. This is going to go straight on here, but I'm going to give it some dimensionals. And the nice thing is that we've got some spaces here to put dimensionals, okay? So I'm using the mini dimensionals. Just use the little guys, because we want to put quite a few, because we really want this stuck down here quite well, because it has a tendency to roll a little bit, only because of the die cut that I did, and using the little brush to get the bits and pieces out. It can roll a little, so I really want to put one there too. Can I get away with that? Can I put one there? I think I can put half of one there. That's what I'm going to do. I'm very fussy when it comes to dimensionals. I like them to be nice and even, but I don't want them to show. So I'm going to put half of one there, and the other half of that one I'll put here. Ooh. Tricky to hold on to. Okay? And then just wherever you think it needs to be stuck down well, this is going to be lots. And then I think in the middle there I can use normal dimensionals. I'll just use the regular sized dimensionals, because that will be good. A little less fussy. So let's just get some of those. No soggy middles, right? We've got to have something in the middle. Anything show through? No. Alright, so let's just peel all of these off. It was an amazing day on the water yesterday. However, we learned something. Usually when we go down fairly early and we grab ourselves a tree. And lately we've been just getting, you know, planting ourselves under a small tree. But for whatever reasons yesterday, we kind of planted ourselves under a big tree and learned that that's a mistake, because when it's sunny and people are looking for shade, they know no boundaries. So we had people, you know, we went out on the water. We're out in the water. We can see where we were. But we were out in the water. Next thing you know, we got people like a foot away from us, like sitting right beside us, like they're part of us. That's a little too close for comfort for me. I think next time we'll find a little tree, and then people are less liable to encroach. So, I mean, I'm as friendly as the next guy, but you know, I'm at the beach. I don't really want to get into small talk with strangers, and I don't know, maybe it's just me, but I was there to relax and read my book and go out on the water, and next thing you know, it's like a party of 15, real close. So, okay, did I do all those? I did all those. So let's have a look at this now. And I don't think it matters to me which is up and which is down, because they're both somewhat the same. What matters to me, and pardon my hair if you can see it, what matters to me is that I get it placed evenly on the card. And I think I'm doing that. There we go. Okay. So that's cool, because you can see some shadowing underneath because you've got the dimensionals on here. Okay? So that's the beginning of my card. So I'll just set that aside there. All right, what's next, Gillybean? Okay. On the very vanilla, so this, I've already cut this piece 6 by 3 1/4. You're going to stamp the large image in soft suede. Now, I already know, or at least I've learned this week, that some of my stamps are drying out just a little bit. So what I'm going to do is, I'm going to use the Stamparatus. I need this, and I need something else, don't I? Die cut the smaller flowers as well. So yes, I'm going to need these. I'm going to need this one as well. So we're working with this big one here, the large one's there, and then this little guy here at the moment. That's what we're doing. So let's get, I'm using the Stamparatus because I don't know how good my stamp pad is. I find with the hot weather, and boy oh boy it's hot up here, I'm finding with the hot weather I'm needing to re-ink my stamp pads. So put one there and one there, and I can do that, and then I can do another one of those. So there we have it. And I'm just making sure that I've got 3 layers here. I've got the layer on the Stamparatus that goes on it, the sponge layer, and then I've got my paper layer to keep the lower layer clean, and this layer. So if I do end up having to stamp it twice, you want to make sure that each time you stamp it, all of these layers are pushed up to the corner of the Stamparatus so that everything stays where it should stay. And I'll just get a stamp pad to put underneath here to give me an even space to ink up. So this is Crumb Cake. I'm doing exactly what she says in the instructions because, yes, I think I can follow instruction. Oh, my ink pad looks pretty good. So I'm just going to give this a nice stamp with Crumb Cake. Again, pop this into the corner, make sure everything's where it should be. Pop that down, and I've got my little handy dandy tool here to make sure I get an all over stamping. There we go. That looks gosh darn good to me. All right. So what I want to do now is I need another one of these. So let's pull this off. I'll give this a little clean. Oh, I'm a little dried out over here. I need to re-wet my chamois. That's okay though. So I need another one. So I'm just going to put one here. Again, make sure everything's lined up. Although I won't have to stamp it twice, it doesn't look like. It looks like I'm only going to have to stamp it once. Just give that a little ink. Okay, that looks good, and that's crumb cake, okay? I do like crumb cake. It's one of my favorite cardstock colors as well as one of my favorite ink colors. I'll clean those off in a bit. Okay, now here comes this fun die cut that I was telling you about. So we're going to cut, we've already used this one. So let's put things back so that I don't lose things, because you know how I do. So that goes there, and this goes here, and we're done with that for the moment, although it does need a little clean out, but I'll give it that. Okay, so next we're going to use this one that cuts out the flower and the leaves. I haven't drawn around these yet either, so I'm in danger of not knowing where they go after, but fingers crossed I can figure it out. I'm really hoping so. I generally draw around my stamps or my dies so that I know where to put them back, number one, and number two, I also know if one's missing, because if there's a drawn line with nothing in it, well then I know I'm missing a die, okay? So check out this die. This is very, very, very cool. So let's get this ready. So let's sort this out. I think that's about it. Now watch what happens when I cut this. I think this is so cool. I really, really like it. What did I do with the plate? Oh, it's underneath. Oh, let's do one of these flowers because we can, right? We can do one of them. Let's do that at the same time. There we go. And then we'll just have to cut one more after that. Now, that big die popped up when I started to roll it in. Hopefully it didn't have any altering on the placement of it. I think it just popped up because it's a long die. Okay, so check this out. Look what happens. See, these are all cut, but look, they're cut in separate pieces. How cool is that? I think that is the coolest thing. So you've got all these different pieces that you can use, and they're all cut separately. I love that. I just think that's the neatest thing. Because you've got acorns here, you might want to do, like, say you were doing a fall card, maybe you want to do 3 or 4 pieces of acorn. And I'm going to use flowers today, but I think that's a pretty cool thing that die separates things so nicely for you. Okay, so let's get this one last little bit cut. So I'm going to need that. And there we go. I love it. I think that's so cool. All right, so we have all our bits done. Now I did these on Very Vanilla, okay? I like the Very Vanilla quite a lot. And that's what Jilly used, and so I'm trying to stay true to her design. And so I did on those. So let's see what it says. So what we're going to use is we're going to use these flowers. We're going to use the berries, but we're not going to use the acorns. So that's going to get set aside, and we'll use it on a different card, right? Very cool. All right, so let's have a look at these. Now I'm going to get some paper out because I'm going to color these. All right, so let's see what she's telling us to do now. Stampin' Blends code. The flowers are Flirty Flamingo, and the, oh, I don't even have that color. Calypso Coral. Do I even have that color? I don't think I do. Just a second. Okay, using Stampin' Blends. Okay, well let's do the flowers first. So that's because I know I have those. And that is light and dark Flirty Flamingo. And we love that Stampin' Up! Actually gives us a hint as to where to do our shadowing, right? Because on all Stampin' Up! Designs, there's lines on them. So basically all I do is I take my darker of my two colors, which is the dark Flirty Flamingo, and I'm going to use the small end, and I'm just going to do this. I'm just going to draw lines where they've put lines, right? Yep, that's all I'm doing. Just everywhere that they've put some lines, I'm going to put some lines. And I'm not being too exacting about it either. I'm just kind of doing it, right? Because what we're going to do is we're going to use the lighter color, and then this darker color is going to blend into the lighter color and just create some shadowing on the flowers, right? You can do as much or as little as you like. Oh, I'm missing a piece. Oh, that fell right into the... See what happens? I get pieces stuck to my arm, and then there you go. All right, so we've got 1, 2, 3 pieces here. And then I can take my light Flirty Flamingo and color these. And I think, if I'm careful, I can use the brush end. Yes, I can. And then I'm just sort of doing extra coloring over top of where I've got those lines, because then it draws out the color of those lines into my flower and creates shadowing rather than lines. It looks more like shadowing, which looks really pretty. So Flirty Flamingo, light and dark. We're just going to color all those flower petals, making sure you get extra ink over top of the lines that you drew in the darker color, so that you're getting some good shadowing there. So it just gives it a little extra pop, a little extra color that you wouldn't have if you didn't do the shadow lines first. I like this. I like Flirty Flamingo. I've been working a lot with it lately. I did a card yesterday also with Flirty Flamingo. Hi Kimmy. Hi Marika. Sorry, I'm deep in thought here. I kind of, there you go. Okay. I love the coloring. I really do. That's exactly what I love about it. It's so relaxing. Sometimes when my husband's not around, I will just get all my coloring stuff out, set it all up on the dining room table, turn on the TV, watch movies and color stuff. Just, you know, stamp a bunch of stuff out that I know I'm going to use, like at Christmas time in particular, because Christmas time you tend to have some coloring to do, which I will have, because I got that beautiful stamp set with the moose. So I'm really, really liking that stamp set, but that's going to be some coloring. All right, so there we have our guys there. Now, what else does she tell us here? We're following along. flowers are done with fleur de flamingo, and the berries are all done. The leaves are all done with the 2 greens. So I guess we're floating our own boat in terms of what goes on in the middle of these flowers. So I'm going to use the dark fleur de flamingo for the centers of the flowers, which I think looks nice. Sure, why not? They're pretty. You got these little bubbles around them. I don't know what those are. I guess they're parts of the center of the flower. We're just gonna add our dark fleur de flamingo there. Give us enough variation from the petals. Okay, those are pretty, huh? Okay, let's do our leaves next because I'm stalling because I don't think I have Calypso Coral blends. So I'm going to have to come up with something else. I don't know what, but something else. Okay. Yeah, I can't wait to start using the mousse set. I'm trying to discipline myself to get my Christmas cards going, and so far I haven't done that, but we'll see. Okay, so she says here that she used light old olive and light granny apple green. Well, there you go. That's a little different for me. Light granny apple green and light old olive. So I'm assuming the old olive's going to go down first since it's darker. So same thing on the leaves. I'm just going to take the fine part of the pen, and I'm just giving myself leaf lines. I'm just literally giving myself leaf lines. I might shadow out to one side. In fact, I think I will. That's what I'm doing right now. Kind of shadowing out all of them on the right side of the leaf, just because I don't know how the shadows are going to come out. I like that. Yeah, I'm going to do that. I'm going to keep doing that. I like it. Whichever side, it doesn't really matter, but I'm just going to shadow this out a little bit on one side of the leaves to give us a little bit more green, because I do love the greens. Let's see, what could I use in place of Calypso Coral? I'm thinking. And why don't I have Calypso Coral? Why? That's a very good question. I don't know. I have no answer. See, the first part, you can almost do like a little bit of a messy color on these leaves because it's all going to blend in, right? The second part, we're going to do a tidier color. But this is all going to blend in. So I'm just adding some color that will just blend with the other color. There we go. So now, sorry about my head. I can't hold things off in a distance and color. I don't know. I just haven't learned that technique yet. But otherwise I'm going to be outside of the lines. So now I'm going to use the Granny Apple Green, but I'm going to also color over top. So I'm going in that blank space with Granny Apple Green, but I'm also going over top of the old olive space that I've already colored, so that I can draw that color out a little bit and give it just a little bit of shadowing. Because that's the whole point of blends, right? Is to get our shadowing in. There we go. Yeah, you've been busy with those mousse, Kim. I haven't really started to play with it yet. I'm sort of collecting ideas. I like to go on Pinterest, collect stuff, get some ideas. I'm not the kind of person that the idea is just going to come out of my brain. I have a tendency to want to follow things, look at things, get my own ideas from there. See, those look good, eh? I like them. I like the little leaves. I'm going to have to get started on my Christmas stuff pretty soon because I still haven't put a dent in that card order for 50 Christmas cards. I still haven't really gotten too far into that. And I also have a craft thing coming out that I may or may not have enough merchandise for. I'm undecided, but I'm not totally committed to it. So we'll see. what I have by then, and go from there. Go from there. I'm working more than I had in mind. That's not helping, you know. It's really cutting into my craft time. Priorities, right? All right. You know, I want to try something. I'm not overly crazy about the centers of those flowers. Maybe I will be in a minute. I'm just not sure. But I want to see what a little bit of light crumb cake looks like on top. Yeah, you know what? I'm going to go in wherever there's this little, do you see on these flowers, there's these little, oh, I lost some things. No, I didn't. There they are. On these flowers, there are these little dots around them. I'm going to go in with the brush side of my, yeah, I like that better. I'm going in with the brush side of my crumb cake in this area here. I'll hold it up so maybe you can see. In this area right here, I'm going in and adding crumb cake just to give it a little darker bit. I think it looks better. I'm mostly doing it where the little circles are, but I'm also doing it in the center as well, just on one side, like maybe how the light is hitting it or something, I'm not sure. But I do like it better. So. I came in here earlier today and I had a bunch of stuff on my desk, and like an idiot, I turned my fan on, and guess what? It's still all over my room. Everything is still all over my room. I've got a little ink there where I don't want it, so I'm adding that. Okay. All right, so did we decide what I could use instead of Calypso Coral? Why don't I have Calypso Coral? Maybe I do. Maybe I'm just not. Oh, for heaven's sakes, I do so. I do have Calypso Coral. It didn't make sense that I wouldn't have it, but I couldn't see it. So Calypso Coral, I'm going to use both colors, both shades, and I'm going to use the fine tip. And all I'm going to do is draw a line on one side of each of these berries, keeping to the same side, okay? So it would essentially be the left side of the berry, depending on how you're holding it. I'm just going to do that. There we go. So I've just done a little line. You can see I've got half my berry is the darker shade, and I just used the fine angle of the darker shade. Now I'm going to go in with the lighter one, color the berry, and draw out some of that darker shade into the center of the berries. And I think I'll need to use the fine tip for that as well. Yeah, and just lots and lots of color. Just keep going around in circles so that you can draw it out. Okay, I'll back my head up a little bit. See this? Just do a whole bunch of circles. You're drawing out that darker color, and it's giving them a lovely kind of two-tone shaded berry here. Oh yeah, that looks quite nice. I'll show it to you close up in a sec. It's definitely the way to handle those berries. You see the two colors, and then lots of the second color on top, drawing out the first color. So do you see the difference? If you look on here, how dark that was along, oh, a little bit further back, a little bit, there we go. See how dark it is along there? And then as soon as you add the lighter color and just keep going around in little circles, you're going to get that nice shadowing. And really that's what we're after, isn't it? We're after nice shadowing without distinct lines between colors. Okay, here's my beautiful little guys. I like those a lot. All right, so let's get our card back. We're going to have a look at our card here and see where we're going to want to place this. So I'm thinking like so. Actually, actually, I think I'm going to pop them down. I'm going to use, I need to use my bone folder on this so that I can get it flat enough to work with. Okay, let's pop these down because I think I have a pretty good idea of where I'd like them to be. Where has she put them? I think she's put them like this. It looks like. Yeah. Okay, I'm going to use dimensionals because I just think this card deserves it. It's just such a pretty card. I think dimensionals is the way to go. And I'm just sort of following Jill's placement here. I'm a little bit dimensional crazy, but that's just the way I am. Just the way I am. Alright, so let's pop this guy down right about, I think right about there will do. Isn't that pretty so far? I'm really pleased. And then this guy will pop, where's she got this guy? I think only one dimension will work for this guy. Let's see where she's got him. And I think a little bit like here. There we go. And the next guy, right about here. And let's remember we've got a banner going across here. So these guys, I'm going to use some, I think I'm going to use some glue. Or am I? Am I going to use some glue? Yes, I'm going to use some glue. I want that guy under there. So I'm just going to use my craft glue. Put a little bit on the end. I'm going to tuck him in right in that blank space there that I see. Okay, pretty. Isn't that nice? And then this piece, I know it's supposed to go down there, but I'm thinking of putting it up here because I feel like I've got my stuff a little lower down here than I intended. So I'm all about fixing. So I'm going to put some glue on this one here. I'm going to put it in the top rather than where Jill had it, on the bottom. Okay? That way I can get back to the symmetry kind of thing of this card. Yes. Look at that. How pretty is that, right? Okay. Let's make our banner now. We're going to have a banner. And for that, I've cut a little piece. Oh, did I lose it again already? Oh, there it is. There it is. Cut a little piece of Flirty Flamingo. And I'm going to use, this banner. I'm going to use this banner. And I'm also going to use, what does it say there? I like the one that says, Happy Thoughts of You, which is what the card is based on. The name of this card that Jilly did is Happy Thoughts. So Happy Thoughts of You, I can't read, oh there it is. Happy Thoughts of You. Okay, now I'm going to use my Stampin'. We're going to do some heat embossing here. So let's get out my embossing buddy. And I'm just going to give this a little run with the embossing buddy so that embossing powder doesn't get stuck where I don't want it. Okay. Now, let's see if I can do this in one go. I might be able to, using the Stampin'. Let's just, well, not one go, two goes, but let's just see what I can do. Now this one, because I don't want it to be too far into the outer edges of my Stampin', I'm going to put it here, and what I'm doing is I'm lining my card stock into, I'll show you. I'm going to align it right here. Okay? I've made a little line there. I'm going to align it there, and I'm going to put a magnet. And the reason I've made that mark is, if it moves and I have to do it twice, I need to know where it was, okay? So there we have it. And I can actually use both magnets, I think, but do not get your magnets anywhere close to each other. Ask me how I know. All right, so I'm going to pop down my banner. Isn't that cute? That's going to be so adorable. Okay, pop down my banner, and I'll just go pick it up. My cardstock didn't really move much. Now we need Versamark, okay? So we're going to do, we're going to emboss this. So I've got my Versamark. Again, if you put a stamp pad underneath, you get a better inking because it's nice and level. So there's my Versamark. Don't press too hard because I don't want Versamark to be in the middle of this banner. I only want it on the outside lines. So I hope I've done that. I'll know in a minute. Oh, good. I did a good job. I'm going to do it again. What I'm talking about is don't push down on your Versamark because you don't want to get Versamark down inside this banner, okay? You don't want to get it down inside there because we're doing something else down inside there. We need that space blank. But since I've done such a good job, I think I'm going to tempt fate and do it again. Yay! There we go. So now we have that all done. Now, let's see if we can do this just as simply, because I love using the Stamparatus. I really, really do. I think that looks, I'm just going to try and bend this a little bit. I'm just bending it with my fingers just to see if I can get it to roll down a little, just a little. Because you want to be sure. Happy thoughts of you. I think I've got it. Pick that up. So far, so good. Everything's in its proper alignment here on my Stamparatus. It's really important that you have that. Let's have a look, see how that looks. Oh yes, it's brilliant, but I'm going to do it twice. That's why I use the Stamparatus, because I really like a good firm Versamark. Or any stamp, really. I like a good firm stamp, and it's nice to have the opportunity to do it a second time. The Stamparatus is the greatest invention since sliced bread. There we go. There we go. Here we got a really strong stamp there. Okay, so let's take this, and we're going to pop it into our embossing tray here. I need to whack this a little bit because I think I've got leftover powder in there that I don't want in there. Let me just give it a wipe out. Okay, so we're going to drop this in here. Let's get our white embossing powder and my spoon. I finally got smart and relegated a spoon to my craft room. I kept going back and forth and getting a spoon, and I thought, that's dumb. We have like 1,000 spoons. Why wouldn't I just put a spoon in my craft room? It takes me a while, you know. Not the sharpest knife in the drawer, folks. Okay. That looks good. That looks really good. Oh yes, this is going to be gorgeous. Give it a little flick. I've got a little extra white powder on there in a couple of places that I don't like. But because I've used my embossing buddy, if I give it a little flick with my fingers, it will come off. Okay, let's put that back before it ends up on the floor. Look at me using embossing powder with my fan on in the room. Tempting fate is right. Okay, let's get this. And we're just gonna pop that on there. A little bit of noise. And you can see it slowly start to get bright. There we go. And there we have it. Very pretty. Now, let's get the die out for that, because yes, thank goodness, there is a die. Here they are. Well, Kim, I have my moments. I have my really bright moments, and then I have my what the heck were you thinking moments. But I think we're all like that, aren't we? I think everybody's like that. So I'm going to place that on a bit of an angle. And I think I have it on the wrong angle. Remember, you can turn this, right? If you put it down and it doesn't match, you've got it down the wrong way. Now it matches. When I first put it down, I wasn't getting a match. So, turn it around. Okay. Look at how pretty that is. Beautiful, 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 beautiful. Look at that. I like it. Under the flowers, is that? Yes, it is, Kim. This is a really, really cool die set. So this is what I used to do the flowers, and I placed it twice. Once like that. Here's my card. I placed it once like that, and then I placed it once like that, and then cut it, right? But you also have this, if you ever wanted to cut this and not have it be a background cut, you've also got this to cut the whole thing out, which is cool. And then when I made these, when I made the big stamp, this big stamp here, where's the box? Here it is. When I stamp this big thing, you use this die cut. Well, you can use this die cut. You can use this die cut and cut it all out together and have it all be one thing. Or, and this is what intrigued me, made me buy this, if you use this die cut, it cuts it up in sections. So today, we used this section, this section, this section, and this section. And this section gets set aside for another day, another card. Okay? It is the coolest set. It really is the coolest set. I have tons of things in my mind that I'm going to do with it. So that's what intrigued me to buy it, when I realized that that die cut separates it into different bits. Okay, so now if you want to, and I'm going to, because why not, you can take your Wink of Stella, and this is what Jilly did. Take your Wink of Stella. I'm just going to test mine and make sure it's happy, and it is. I'm going to take my Wink of Stella, and I'm going to give myself a little zhuzhing right about where I put those dark lines on my flowers. Yes. I don't know if you can see that, but it's very, very pretty. Just a little wink of Stella goes a long way, and it just adds that extra bit of wow, right? And I will tell you another thing that Jilly did on her PDF, and like I mentioned, you can head on over to Gillybean Crafting, and you can buy this PDF from her, and it's 5 absolutely gorgeous cards. I'm going to use this PDF over and over and over and over and over again. Okay? So the other thing that she did is, Jilly did, we have this, this is actually a color lifter. It's a really handy little tool. It's got 2 sides, just like all our other markers. It's got the big side and the small side. And really what it's designed for is if you went out the lines a little bit, you could use this and color, and it would lift the color away from where you went out of the lines. Okay, so it's like an eraser. But what Jilly likes to do, and I don't know if you can see the difference between her flowers and my flowers on this card if I hold it up. What she likes to do is after she's colored her flower, she goes over it with this, and it gives the color, it gives the flower a very light pastel, shadowy kind of effect rather than a very stark colorful effect like mine have. But I like the colorful, so that's what I went with. But give that a try because it's fun and it's pretty cool. So I think because of the amount of dimensionals I have on here, I'm going to want to attach this with glue. So I'm just going to take a little bit of my basic white glue, and I'm going to place it along the middle of this because the ends are going to stick off. And then I like the jaunty angle she's used, so I'm going to do the same. Oh, I'm very pleased with this card. All right, we need some bling. We need some bling. Let's see what kind of bling we want here. For some reason, I'm thinking pearls. I don't know why, but let me look and see what I forgot yesterday what bling I had. Yesterday I did this card. I did this card yesterday. This was a lot of fun to do. And I was thinking when I put the whole card together, I thought, what it really needs is some of those brass butterflies, but I don't have any. I should look at my bling more often because I do have it. I have a whole package of brass butterflies. So, and that was a fun card to do. I will repeat that card as well. That was a great fun card to make. So let's see what I've got here. I've got gold rhinestones, which I think would be a bit much. I'm going to dig out the rhinestones just because you know how I like to color a rhinestone. So I'm going to dig those out, but I also want to see if something else might jump out at me. I'll put those there. I sort of want a little bit of color, I think. I must have liked those. I got 2 packages. And I've got pearls. And let's see what else I've got. I think maybe just the little pearls. That's what I think. I don't think it needs much. I think maybe just a few pearls. It's a very, I think it's a very dainty kind of looking card. So I'm thinking some pearls will be good. Yeah, they're always there, Kim. You can catch me on YouTube, Stampin' with Casey, or you can catch me here on Facebook, so whichever floats your boat. I'm going to use little pearls, not the big ones, and I might even use more than 3 because I'm a rebel. I can use as many as I want. Yeah, pearls are it for sure. That's the right thing. Just your basic pearls. Oh, don't lose it underneath the embossing. I love the pearls. Okay, so that works for me. I love the pearls. And I always like to have one on the tag. Look at that. I'm very pleased with that. Of course, I'm going to go in later. I'll do it later because we're coming up on an hour now. I will go in later and do inside, and I probably will add, oh, what the heck, let's see. Let's do it. What the heck? Let's do it. I will put, I'm just going to use a stitched rectangle because I haven't already made enough of a mess here today. I'm just going to see what other mess I can make. That's a good one. I'm going to do that. And I'll put this through my machine on an angle. Remember to put it on an angle when you're cutting these things so that they go through the machine a little better than a straight line. And I think what I'm going to do is just give it that little flower. If I can find the stamp. See, I bury things. I'm so good at this. Now the little stamp, the little one. Here it is. Here it is. I got it. I'm just going to take the little one, and in keeping with my crumb cake that I used throughout the card, I'm just going to stamp myself a little crumb cake here. Yes. How pretty is that, right? That's going to go inside my card. It's always good to do the inside right when you're doing the card. I know that because sometimes I say, oh, and I'll put it inside and that one later and I don't. So it's always a good idea to do it while you're making the card. Don't rely on yourself to do it later. So I'm going to pop that inside the card and then we can call it done. That's a beautiful card and I love it, and I'm going to do some more of Jill's, so stay tuned and we'll play some more with her stuff. I am going away the week of the 22nd, so Monday through Friday I will be away, and so I won't be doing anything online at all. Oh yes, that's pretty, right? That's very pretty. So there you have it. So yeah, I'll be away that week, but I'll be back and start up again. And as it gets cooler too, like I mentioned before, my craft room is very warm. I have a fan on right now, which doesn't always prove to be the right thing, but it's working for me at the moment. And so hopefully when it cools down, I can get back to doing a little more. And I think actually I'm going to maybe work a little less. I'm working 5 days a week. That's not really what I signed up for. And I don't want to burn out, and I don't want to take all that time away from the things I love to do. I do like my job very much, but let's face it, I'm getting older. It's time to take it easy. So there you have it. I hope you like my card. Again, if you want to pop over to Gillybean Crafting, I'll show you the cards in here because we have a minute or two. So Happy Thoughts is the one we did just now. Then there's this one called Sending Many Thanks. This is also embossing, but with copper. I'm so fond of you. And these are all using the Fond of Autumn. Now this one uses a Christmas one as well, but it uses the Fond of Autumn berries there. So you can see how versatile the stamp set is because you can cut it into sections. So I'm saving this for a fall card, but if I cut out another fall one, I'd save these berries for Christmas, just like they've done here, because they're very, very Christmassy. So you could add that to your Christmas things. This one too. I haven't had a good look at this one. I'm not quite sure entirely what. She's used some other stamp sets with this, but Wishing You, Christmas card, and this beautiful Autumn Wishes. I love that. There's our piece here that I was talking about. Okay. Yeah, 5 days is too much for me, Kim. I'm really I only work 5 hours at a time, so it's not really that. It's the getting to do the things I want to do because I'm retired. I mean, technically I'm retired. I want to be able to, spend more days doing fun things than working. But then I do want to work too because it, supports my habit. So, but yeah, I'll work it out. My boss has been away having a kidney transplant, for heaven's sakes. So he'll be back shortly, and then I'll be able to get talk to him and see if I can. I need a couple of rest days in between. I mean, there's been a couple of weeks there that I worked 5 days in a row, and for me, I mean, let's face it, I'm pushing 70. I'm not up for that anymore, and it cuts into my downtime, which I like my downtime. I like to play with my cards. I'm not getting any sewing done right now because I'm just not finding the time. So I need to reorganize things and get into, doing some things that I want to do. So, all right, my lovelies, that's me for today. And I won't be on tomorrow. I'm actually going to go to a card class. I found a Stampin' Up! Demonstrator who lives pretty much down the street from me, so I'm going to do a Christmas card class with her tomorrow. And we'll see what the rest of the week brings. I can't quite remember what I work, whether I work mornings or evenings. I'll try and pop in the mornings if I'm doing evening work. And like I say, you'll get your notifications. So catch me on YouTube, Facebook, Pinterest, and Instagram, all Stampin' with Casey. And until next time, my friends, bye for now.